everyone, and welcome to Cherries Red Army YouTube channel. Thank you for everyone currently joining us live. I do apologise if my sort of screen is a little bit blurry at the moment, but hopefully the signal will improve. It feels like it's been quite a while since we've done a live stream, but let's get involved and we want to hear your thoughts. And hopefully you picked up episode 8 this morning, the AFC Bournemouth series, the best 11 from the Eddie Howe years. And this is part 2. We're going to vote for those final positions, the best 2 strikers to fill that lineup. But first, are you a subscriber to Cherries Red Army yet? And if not, please do hit that subscribe button, because we're trying to get to 500 before the season starts. If you like the stream in the next 45 to an hour, do hit the like button as well. And as I said, do comment within the chat. So you guys are here, I'm here, but we also need some of our guests from part 1 in the episode. And have you decided yet who your 2 strikers are going to be? Well, here's a recap.
He had so much class about him. He was clever. He took a incredible free kick. I'll never forget that free kick against Brighton. So many goals, bullet headers, overhead bicycle kicks.
Eddie Howe comes around and says that when Eddie Howe comes in and says, I really need you back at the club, where he was back at Crawley at the time, and dropped everything he could to rejoin the project. And obviously, in the end, it all paid off when he scored that goal against Grimsby to secure our survival in the last home game of the season.
Callum was, blistering pace, would run off the shoulder of the defenders all day long, run the channels. Great goal scoring record. Our only, I believe it's our only England international to ever score, isn't it? For us, in AFC Bournemouth, and score a goal for his country.
My dad just went up to him and just started having a normal chat. Seems like a pretty laid-back guy. Obviously, he wasn't. He was very, very good finisher, despite not being the quickest. Definitely was a crucial player through our rise of the leagues.
I don't think he ever got past 10 goals in the season until he came to Bournemouth. But the one season that we needed him to step up was in that season, if I'm right, guys, when Callum Wilson done his ACL. And he scored some big goals. I don't know if it was in the same season. He scored against United. He scored against Villa. And here we have the Cherries Red Army team. We've got Aaron, John, Dan and Steve. And as I said, if you've seen the part 1 of the episode 8, do let us know your thoughts throughout the show in that part 1. If you haven't seen it yet, don't worry too much. You can pick it up afterwards and we can sort of help you through the results stream. But Aaron, coming to you first, you got Yann Kermogant. Give us 1 minute of summary for Yann Kermogant making the contender list.
Yeah, so as I said, Yann really had one major season with us where he made an incredible impact on our championship winning season. He was everything. I think Steve was correct when he likened him to a lower league's Eric Cantona. He had a bit of arrogance about him, flair, good in the air, good on the floor, brought players into the game, good vision, great set piece player, good free kicks, took penalties as well. Able to bring players into the game, could drop deep, and formed a formidable partnership with Callum that season. Just brought everything. Absolutely instrumental in our promotion. And as I said before, I think potentially could have certainly had an impact in the Premier League, but it wasn't to be. But yeah, great memories of one of my favourite ever seasons.
John, you got the legend. He has a stand named after him. You got Steve Fletcher.
Yeah, difficult to sum up exactly how much Steve Fletcher really helped us and to get us to the point at which we could go on to achieve all that we managed to go on and do. I mean, he was a hero for us in the lower leagues, and the kind of player that if you were to put him in this theoretical lineup is not the kind of player that a lot of defenders would like to go up against. I think the kind of strength and the way that he bullied defenders about and just threw himself around to make sure that he could get everything he could for us and get his head on the end of absolutely everything that got pumped long, got hooked in, got just just iconic for us. And he's the only one of the five here that didn't play any higher than League One, but he's still the big man, and he's always going to be hard to deal with for any defence. So he's certainly got a good shout of getting himself into this team.
And Steve, you got one hell of a number 9 striker, 3 million from Coventry City. You got Callum Wilson.
Yeah, Bournemouth's goal machine. And yeah, what a goal machine he was for us. But yeah, like you said, he came up from, we got him out of League One from Coventry, I believe. And he was, everything you want from a really out and out centre forward. He's strong, he's rapid, he would run the channels all day long and had one hell of an eye for goal. Without his goals, I don't think we would have ever made it to the promised land in the Premier League. It's as simple as that. And that, like Aaron said, that partnership with Kermogant in that season was absolutely mesmerising at times. He put so many teams to the sword. And yeah, it's and like I said before, the only player we've ever had that's reached our national team and scored a goal whilst being at AFC Bournemouth. So yeah, hell of a number 9.
And Dan, you're pretty happy to get old Super Brett.
Yeah, very, very happy with Brett Pitman. Obviously, has a great goal scoring record for us. Was an unbelievable finisher. Did it in multiple leagues. And yeah, I tend to like strikers like that. I don't know why. The ones that are technically brilliant, because as we know, he wasn't the quickest of strikers like Josh King and Callum Wilson, but he was such an unbelievable finisher. And yeah, just something about him. Because I particularly liked Glenn Murray as well for that same reason. Big fan of Glenn Murray and Dom Solanke now. And yeah, and to have done it in the rise through with Eddie Howe. Unfortunately, didn't end up staying with us in the Premier League. Whether he could have done it, that's a debate we had, I think, in the original episode. But who knows? But no one can deny a club legend for sure, and definitely in with a shout.
And I got Josh King, someone we got from Blackburn on a compensation package. And he definitely played his part in those early Premier League years, especially the year that Callum Wilson got his bad injury. I think he's our highest ever goal scorer in the Premier League over one season. I think it might be 16 goals. Yeah, we know near the end when he didn't get his move to Man United, it all went a bit downhill to a point. But, he did deserve his spot in there for especially the first 3 or 4 years at AFC Bournemouth. So let's take a look at that team where we currently are up to episode 8. So we've got Artur Boruc in goal, Simon Francis right back, Steve Cook and Nathan Ake centre backs, Charlie Daniel left, Mark Pugh left wing, Harry Arter and Lerma take centre midfield, Matt Ritchie on the right. And we've just got the easy job, guys, of filling the strikers. Now, remember, I have got my yellow card, and that includes the fans in the chat as well. So keep it clean. Okay, and I have got my
who's on the yellow card? I know I am.
You're definitely on a yellow card, Steve. You're definitely on a yellow card. Are we decided yet, guys? I mean, give me a nod or whatever. Are we decided now? You've had time to think about this.
Yeah, I think I've decided.
Yeah, as of 2 minutes ago. Yeah.
Okay, so between us and between the fans in the chat, we're going to decide collectively who's going to take those positions. And what we're going to do is we're going to reset the chat from now. So I'm just going to put a little message in the chat from now. Vote for your first player. Okay, so literally, we don't want to do 2 yet. So we want one name only. It can be the surname. And we just want that one player. Okay, so coming to you, Aaron, first. Who's going to be your first striker?
First striker for me is Callum Wilson. He obviously fired us to promotion, as Steve said, fired us to the promised land where we never thought we'd get, and was our goal scorer for 5 seasons in the Premier League. 2 horrendous injuries, but always played with a smile on his face, had everything, pace, power, and was a goal scorer. And I think the biggest credit I can pay him is that we missed him so badly last season. We just missed everything about him up front. A true goal scorer and as I said, a player whose attitude was always brilliant. And actually, even watching him for Newcastle, I still kind of think, oh, he's our player. He's Bournemouth's Callum Wilson, and not many players who leave I still feel a fondness for. But for him, I really do, and I always feel like he's our player, and he always will be our player wherever he goes. Now, I want him to do well. So yeah, Callum Wilson for me was an easy one.
One vote for Callum Wilson. Over to you, John. Who's going to be your first striker?
Yeah, out of the two, there's one that really there's no debate for me, and that's Callum Wilson. I just think, as was just said by Aaron, just everything about the way he played, the smile on his face as he was doing it, the absolute ton of goals that he got for us when we were in the Championship, and then started like a house on fire in the Premier League. And of course, then you go on to obviously his injury record, but considering the amount of games he's played and still scored a good number of goals for us, it tailed off a bit towards the end of our 5th season in the Prem, which is part of why we went down. But I just love the way he played. Even if I felt his hold-up play could do a little bit more work, it wasn't part of his game. That wasn't the important thing. If we played it in the channels to get onto the end of it, he was there and he would tuck it away. And I love strikers like that you just put the ball in the right spot and he'll just finish it. Just out of the 5, definitely my favourite, and I think the best striker of the 5.
Okay, Steve, over to you. Who's going to be your first striker?
Yeah, well, I'm going to continue this trend here, and I'm going to opt for my first one as being Callum as well. Like the chap's already said, absolutely brilliant for us, and without him, we would never have got where we got. Brought so many great memories. The hat-trick against West Ham, overhead kicks against Leicester. Just everything you wanted from a striker, and would never let us down. Had horrendous injuries, as we know, and just kept on plugging away for us. Brilliant.
Going to go against the grain, Dan, or are you going to agree with your teammates?
I'm also going to go with Callum Wilson. That was one of my 2, and a legend at the club, and I agree with Aaron in the sense that I still see him as almost like a Bournemouth player. I still really want him to do well for Newcastle. And he was one of those strikers that was very, very difficult to play against, very annoying to play against, wound up the defenders, strong and quick. I remember that. Do you remember the touch of magic against West Ham, was it? That got us that goal in the end. So for me, Callum Wilson.
Okay, so a good mixture in there. It does look like Callum Wilson's coming through in the chat. There was a vote for Josh King, so cheers for that, John, as well. And there was Steve Fletcher and Pitman. But looking at the chat, it looks like Wilson does win with the votes in screen as well. I'm going to echo a full round the table and go for Callum Wilson as well. So Callum Wilson takes his spot in this best 11. But who's going to join him? And we're going to come back to you, Dan. So now it starts to get a little bit more tough. Let's reset the chat again. Ooh. And who are you going to vote for to play alongside Wilson?
So this one is for me between Fletch and Pitman, and I think that Fletcher just pinches it for me. I think that without his contribution and commitment to the club, we may not be where we are today. And his goals he has a stand named after him, and that says it all, really. And how could he not be in the best team? And it goes to show. I was when I was mascot, I met him as well, so I've got that connection as well. An all-round AFC Bournemouth, one of the biggest legends of the club, and one of my first favourite players. So for me, Steve Fletcher is the second player.
Steve Fletcher, and over to you, Steve. And this is going to get so interesting because it's already building up in the chat. Steve Fletcher's the first name up, but second is Brett Pitman. So where are you going to go?
Well, I like the. I have discounted Josh and Yann as great as they were for us for their own reasons. I have gone with I've left myself the quandary of Steve Fletcher and Brett Pitman, and my shirt I'm wearing this evening is a little indication of who I've decided on, and that is Mr. Pitman, because his goal scoring is absolutely phenomenal. Probably the best finisher I've ever seen in a Bournemouth shirt. From all areas of the pitch, all types of goals. He's got promoted through every division with us, and goal scoring records, I think pretty much close to sort of one in every two or one in every three. It's pretty good. So yeah, Brett for me.
Okay, so one for Fletcher in the screen and one for Pitman. And what are you going to go for, John?
So I was actually caught on the fence between Steve Fletcher and actually my other pick would possibly have been Yann Kermogant, because looking at the whole point that we putting this team together is the idea of the best 11 and the best team that we could put together. And as much as I absolutely love Steve Fletcher, whether he could necessarily cut it in the Premier League is not even in his prime is very debatable. And I understand that's maybe not the point of the emotion that goes into these. But to be honest, I'm going to vote tactically because it could easily have been Pitman and it could have been Fletcher. But I'm going to go with Kermogant because for me, I was so disappointed with his lack of opportunities that he was given in the Premier League, because the combination that he had going with first Graben, which was a fantastic relationship that he had going with Graben, and then he moved that on to Callum Wilson. Just everything that he did for the club, for his fantastic free kicks, his amazing technical ability. If people remember the back pass that he did, which obviously he did before Philip Billing made it cool in the Cup, when he did that last year. It's just an incredible footballer. And despite being, 5'10", he was quite short for a sort of a target man. He had a hell of a leap on him. He won almost every header when we pumped the ball up to him. Watching him live just win everything against even massive centre-backs was incredible to see. Just technically fantastic as well. And as a partner to Callum Wilson, they went and did it and scored 40 goals between the two of them, if not more, in that championship season. So, yeah, maybe taking a bit of the easy way out to not pick between Fletcher and Pitman, but Yann Kermogant was one of my favourite players I ever saw live, I think, and I would be remiss without me putting my 2 cents on how good he was.
So one vote for Kermogant then, and this is your last opportunity to get a vote in for your player for that second position alongside Callum Wilson. No duplicating your votes though, no cheating, yeah? And over to you, Aaron. Are you going for Fletcher, Pitman, Kermogant or King?
So like Dan and Steve, Josh and Yann, as John said, had real shot. But for me, it was between two legends of the club through mainly the lower league years, Steve Fletcher and Brett Pitman. And I really have been toying back and forth, and there's so much to say about both. But hard as it is for me to not go with Fletch, for all the reasons that have been said, I'm going with Brett Pitman as well. I've been watching Bournemouth for many, many years, and other than Jermaine Defoe's loan spell in 2000, Brett Pitman is the best finisher I've ever seen at the football club. He just scored goals for fun, over 100 goals and 300 appearances over 9 seasons. Scored the goals, 17 goals in the season to keep us up in the Great Escape, and just the most natural finisher. And again, synonymous with some of the lower league years. So, as a striker, just couldn't fault him. Just put chances away for fun. So it wasn't easy at all, but he just shades it for me.
Okay, so a vote in for Pitman and over to me. And like everyone said, John said here again, Pitman goals got us out of League 2 and League 1. He got 13 in the Championship. There's been some good compliments for Steve Fletcher, and I sit in the Steve Fletcher stand with my season ticket, and both strikers deserve it. Like John said in the part 1 of the episode as well, that he's had over 600 appearances, scored some big goals. We wouldn't be here probably without that Grimsby goal, and also the one at the Millennium Stadium. So do you know what? Pitman's a great striker, and he probably does deserve the nick. But to even it out a little bit more, I want to give it to Fletcher. I sit in his stand, so I can't go against him because he might take my seat away from me. So I'm going for Fletcher. This is close, everyone, by the way. The second position is going to go to, alongside Callum Wilson. I'll tell you what, hit that like button and I'll tell you. And it's Brett Pitman. He does nick it ahead of Steve Fletcher. And there is your AFC Bournemouth best 11, the Eddie Howe years. Brett Pitman alongside Callum Wilson, Borich, Francis, Cook, Ake, Daniels, Pugh, Arter, Lerma, Ritchie, Pitman, and Wilson. Aaron, I mean, Steve said early on, right at the start of the series, he said this is going to look familiar, and it does a bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's the championship winning team, other than Nathan and Jeff Lerma, essentially, and obviously Yann played a massive part in that, alongside Brett and Callum as well. So, yeah, I think it's got everything: work ethic, not really any egos, just a brilliant team, and I just wish we were lining up with that next season.
Could you give 3 words for this, John? What does this team give you?
3 words.
That's it. You've had them.
That's wonderful. That's absolutely wonderful to spring that on me when I've got no time.
Absolutely.
Goals, energy, and fun. You know, that team back in the championship, which this is, you know, so close to, was just so fun to watch. They played with no fear, just maximum effort, maximum aggression every single week. I mean, it didn't even matter if they went down to 10 men; they still managed to win those games. Just with just how much they dominated games against opponents. Obviously, that changed a lot in the Premier League, but you know, even that first Premier League season, which this team is still very close to, we still ran more than any other side during that time. And Dan Gosling set I think a Premier League record. I'm not sure has been beaten in terms of distance covered in one match. So, you know, they just were all at it, all action, and so brilliant once they got going. The partnerships down the wing haven't changed. Daniels and Pugh seem to manage to take it past every single right back that they ever came up against. Ritchie and Francis did the same. And it was that sort of classic Premier League style that you see nowadays of the inverted winger with the bombing on fullback, which, you know, is obviously in vogue now, but, you know, Bournemouth certainly made the most of it when they were going about their business in the Championship and the Premier League. So, yeah, a great team and so many good players in there.
Steve, you've had a bit of time now to think about your 3 words. What does that team give you?
Ooh, passion, energy, and it's kind of a bit like John's, but excitement, because you know that team did excite pretty much every week. You know, plus the additions of, obviously you would have had Sirs and Tommy in there, but you know, add those 2 bits of Premier League class to it, and it's one hell of a team, and you know, which we saw in the Premier League quite a lot, bar Ritchie later on. But yeah, and obviously Pitman. But yeah, that team essentially has given me, and I imagine so many other fans, probably, you know, the best AFC Bournemouth years they've ever experienced. So what a wonderful team it is.
Dan, there's some players in there that we wish were still in the AFC Bournemouth team. There's players we hope will still be in the AFC Bournemouth team come August. What do you think about that team?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's hard to dispute that team. Maybe a couple up for debate, but yeah, what a team that is, and a team that we'd love to have for next season, as you mentioned. Yeah, it was kind of obvious it was going to go down this sort of route with most of the championship winning team, and they all deserve it because I've said this before, these were players that a lot of them that had come through the journey with us from some of the lower leagues, especially like Steve Cook, and they overachieved because of their desire, because of their commitment and their teamwork together. I feel like they overachieved massively, and I feel like now, particularly, is well, any team that comes down is quite difficult, and we've had some players maybe in the Premier League and coming down from the Premier League that perhaps are more talented than these group of players, but are maybe underachieving, whether that's ego or whatever. I'm not sure. But yeah, it's and I hope that we can get, and I hope that this season we can get some young talent coming through. I know Anthony's coming through, because we want that. That's what Bournemouth, I think, is all about, is about sort of that commitment, passion, and teamwork, and really, really work hard for each other. And that's what this team would give you 100%.
Should we bring this line up to life then? I'll tell you what. Let's put a yellow card on Harriata, and let's put a yellow card on Lerma. Now it feels like an AFC Bournemouth best 11, putting a yellow card on them too. And
do you want to put Cook in goal then?
That's a good point. That's a good point. But let us know your thoughts. If you're not able to watch this live, put it in the comments. What do you think of that best 11? And you know what? We've really enjoyed doing these streams. We put a lot of effort in trying to make it as fun and interesting for you. And you know, we're trying to bring more content to you before the season starts and throughout season as well. And if you do like and enjoy Cherries Red Army, you can sponsor us with a coffee, and simply go to buymeacoffee.com/cherriesredarmy, because the streaming that we're currently using at the moment does cost us, and any contributions and any sponsorships from any of you, as minimal as £5, does go a long way. And we've really enjoyed all the comments coming in to these series, and we've enjoyed doing it throughout the week. So if you do want to sponsor the channel, it'll really help us kick on and continue to pump out the content for you through the season. So buymeacoffee.com/cherriesredarmy. We'll really appreciate that. We've only been for half an hour, guys, and we haven't been streaming for a long time. And when you have a football team and you've got the list, we've got an okay manager there as well, and Eddie Howe, he did pretty well. We need to sort of set up tactics now, don't we? We can't just put them out on the field and without them knowing what they're doing. So in that team, who would you put as captain? Okay, so we'll reset the chat again. Who would you vote for your captain within that squad? So start putting it in the chat, select one player, and I'll come to you, Aaron. So a lot of leaders in there, a lot of people, a lot of players that would show passion, aggression. But who would you pick as captain for that lineup?
Yes, as you said, it's a team full of leaders, which is probably one of the reasons why it would be such a successful team. For me, I would go with Cookie. Steve Cook. Leads by example, vocal, just gives 100% for the cause. So Steve Cook would be my captain, but I would expect a lot of loud voices throughout that team to help him out.
Patrick said Simon Francis, and he took the captain's armband, and he did a good job when he came in from right back to centre back. Would you go with Frano, John?
Frano's the only other name really that I would have possibly given it to in terms of who I would say should be the captain of that team. Steve Cook would be my pick, definitely. Frano did obviously get the armband sort of before Cookie did, and Cookie was, well, I think it was Sermon actually was vice captain, while Cookie was while Frano was captain. But because he's playing at right back, and because I don't think he was necessarily the vocal kind of captain. I think he was more sort of a, follow my lead type captain, which is also a very good way to play the role. But Cookie, is the kind of captain that I would want. Someone that, organizes the team, gets you, and shouts at you if you've messed up, really gets you going for a game. And as a centre back, that's where I want my captain to be, not a right back or midfield or striker. So I'd go with Steve Cook.
This is divided opinion again, Steve. It looks like it's Frano or Cook, and I can't split it at the moment. John's gone for Cook. Mark's gone for Cook. How are you feeling about this, Steve? Who would you select as captain?
Well, obviously, had Tommy made the team, it would have been a no-brainer for me. Obviously, probably our best captain I've ever seen. I think it does come down to those two, and I think John makes a very good point, whereby I would have probably erred on the side of Francis had we had him in a central role, but as he's out on the right, I'm going to have to go with Cook, just because of the reasons John's just said. I played there myself. I know what it's like. It's you see everything in front of you. You can organise from that position, and he does it very well. Leads by example as well. So Captain Cook for me.
And Dan, don't put me in this position. What are you going to go for?
I'm actually going to go with Simon Francis.
He's doing it on purpose.
He deserves a vote, and I think that he's a real professional guy. You can tell that from when he played, and also now the role he's got. He always spoke very well. I think he was a good role model, from what I understand. Trained hard and helped out the youngsters. There were some great memories with him as captain, and he deserves a shout. I would either one I'd be happy with, but I think he needs a vote at least. So Simon Francis, I'm going to go with.
Okay, and what I'm going to do, because he's currently our club captain, I want him to stay. And if there's any chance he's possibly going to come across this video, I'm going to select him as captain. But I'll tell you what I'll do is we'll select Simon Francis as vice captain. So there you go, guys. It's not too bad if you voted for both. You've got a captain and a vice captain there. So our captains are set up. We know Lerma and Arta are probably going to pick up a yellow card at some point. Okay. And we're playing this, I don't know, best all-stars. This team's taken on the best all-stars from all around the world. And who would score the first goal then? And I tell you what, reset the chat. We're going to score the first goal and take the lead 1-0. Who's going to score the goal and how are they going to score it? So is it going to be a header, volley? And I'm going to go for first goal coming from Callum Wilson, 6-yard box, off his knee, doesn't know much about it. Okay? And but I'm going to come to you now, Dan. So Bournemouth take the lead in this setup of a match. And who scores the first goal? And how does he score it?
Matt Ritchie. He comes in from the right. He cuts inside, curls it in to the top left-hand corner. That's the goal. That's the ideal first goal, Matt Ritchie. And he goes on some ludicrous celebration.
Steve, are you going to pick out a defender to come up and knock a header in from a corner?
No, I think Cookie liked to save it till the late on stages of the games, didn't he, to come up with a goal, a match-winning header. But there's a certain sort of je ne sais quoi about a Matt Ritchie ball over, Pew bringing it down and chopping one way, chopping the other, and then slotting it home. That just seems ideal to me.
Love it, love it. John, where's the first goal coming from? AFC Bournemouth take the lead.
And you can't forget Pew's celebrations either. Well, I say celebrations, Steve. They didn't really get the knack for celebrating, did Pew? I'm actually going to go with Ritchie as well, but from a different spot. I'm thinking this is going to be more of a friendly type thing, so it's going to be a bit more fun. Callum Wilson's probably going to win a free kick about 25 yards out, and Frano's going to stand over the ball. And he's going to point at the wall to make sure that the wall's not jumping out of spot, and he's just going to roll it 2 inches to his side, and Ritchie's going to come onto it and pile it into the bottom corner, as he did quite a few times for us. That was one of my favourite ways for us to score, despite how good we were at making things an open play. Particular favourite is, I believe it was the winner when we were down to 10 men against Sheffield Wednesday. It was a 2-1 victory. That was the second goal in that one, which comes to mind often. So yeah, I think that will be a good way to score the first goal.
A lot of votes in there, Aaron, for Matt Ritchie to get the first goal, and we sort of were linked with him at the start of pre-season. It's all sort of died down a little bit, but we'd love him to become an AFC Bournemouth player again, I'm sure of that. But who would score the first goal for you with this best 11 in this made-up match that we've created?
Pew in swinger, Nathan Ake header. Our goal-scoring defender, scored so many critical goals for us over the years, memorable goals. And yeah, he out-jumps whoever's all-star defender we're playing against, thumps it in, dreadlocks flying all over the place, and that brilliant smile of his. Yeah.
There we go then. So a few goals there for our AFC Bournemouth team. And I tell you what, one more vote then. We can't have a starting 11 without a subs bench. And I'm going to move this over to you four guys, and you can also vote in the chat as well. I'm going to give you one position each. Okay, so we've got a subs bench, and we've got a goalkeeper, one defender, one centre midfielder, and one striker to come off the bench if need be. And I'm going to mix it up a bit. Let's go over to you, Steve. Goalkeeper. Who's taken up the subs bench as the goalkeeper?
It would have to be Begovic. Are we just going off the ones we had as in the race? Yeah, so Begovic for me. I think, like I said in it before, I think Ramsdale would have been He's got his career ahead of him, and he will become an exceptional goalkeeper. I've no doubt in that. But Begovic last season and his previous stints, solid, dependable. Yeah, I mean, we certainly wouldn't have got into the playoffs without him last season. So yeah, I'd have to go for Beggars on that one.
There was one man that missed out, John, on the Defenders Contender episode. I was desperate to get him in there. He likes a white post as well. Who are you going to put on the subs bench? I'm not trying to influence you, by the way. A defender.
Danny Seaborn. No. It would, I wonder. It would be Captain Fantastic, Tommy Elphick. That it is that superstition on the goalpost is quite the story for him to tell about just being in your first professional game and having, for some reason, the match not start on time, and he's got to stand around waiting for a while, and ended up jogging about a bit, kicking the post, and that's it. That's him set for the rest of his career, is what he does. And the amount of times he missed out on team photos as well because he was going through his pre-match ritual. But yeah, as the captain that got us up into the Premier League, it was such a shame that it was sort of mostly injury that really sort of curtailed his opportunities in the Prem. And then we had other players come in to do fantastically, like Sylvain Distin, obviously, and obviously thinking back, I think it was him that had that goal disallowed in our first away game against Liverpool. Yeah,
Liverpool.
Yeah, just so absolutely not foul either. It was ridiculous. No. So gutted that you didn't get that. But just a player that every single Bournemouth fan has fond memories of, just for being the captain that took us up. And he was still a very good player. He didn't get his chance in the Prem, unfortunately, not really. But has had a very good career, and I'm sure still have very fond memories of his time at Bournemouth, and would definitely be the first player I think of to put in as centre back behind these first two.
Two more positions left then. And Dan, this is my last opportunity in this series. Really enjoyed it to try and get one Turbe in this team. Is he going to make it?
What am I going for? The midfield?
Yeah.
Anywhere in midfield?
Yeah. Anywhere. One midfielder.
I don't know. Spit me some players off the top of your head, and I'll.
Junior Stanislas, Andrew.
How about Stanislas?
Billing
signed a new contract today. Junior Stanislas.
Yeah, go on then. We'll go Stan. Since he signed a new contract, he's boosted his way up to the subs bench. Go for Stanislas.
And Aaron, does Fletch not miss out now?
If we're losing, you're going to launch the ball up to Fletch, and I'm sure he'll grab us a goal. So Fletch does find his way onto the bench. Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. Look, even a slot there for Goslin.
Are we not mentioning Dom Solanke?
No, Dom Solanke, he's got to get 20 goals. That's why he keeps missing out. So, but Dan knows in the chat, gets 25 and I'll shave my head. No problem. So he's got something to thrive for.
We've got that on tape now.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Really, really enjoyed this, guys. It's been a few weeks of doing this. We've had some really, really good interaction in the chat. Some special mentions with some of you in here already. Steve, Aaron, Dan, John, Keefy T, Simon, James all contributed on the videos. And then all the comments, Ben, Alan, Gary, all the marks, John, Sammy, JK Up the Cherries, Alan, Rob, Daniel, Wing, George, so many comments. We've read them all. We've interacted, and it's been a lot of fun. Aaron, finally, just summarise the last few weeks of reminiscing these old, these players that have left the club but played a massive role in our history.
Yeah, it's quite depressing, really, because I want to watch that team play. And it's, just got over Eddie Howe leaving and it's brought it all back. But no, incredible memories. No one can take any of them away from us. And yeah, love putting this together. Really, really enjoyed it. And can't wait for the Jimmy Quinn years to come.
John, just a quick summary from you. Obviously taking part in this series and all the contributions.
It's been really good fun being in been on a couple of episodes of this. Feels though Eddie Howe didn't get quite as many mentions as I thought he would over the course of this, considering this is based after his teams. But it's a good bit of fun. This has ended up in basically exactly what I thought it would be in terms of the team that came up. I think most people would have gone with that. I might not have had Lerma in, but he certainly deserves to be there. But yeah, everything else is just reminiscent of the best times we had under Eddie, and obviously the best times any AFC Bournemouth supporter has ever had following this team, with these players that all just, I mean, how many of those were basically League 1, League 2 players? Like apart from Ake, Lerma and Boric, those are all League 1 and Championship players that we took as a team. And just went on an incredible journey with, and it was fun to reminisce about those times with the rest of you.
Steve, you've been on a few episodes. You picked up a yellow card, probably to be expected. And have you enjoyed yourself?
Yeah, mate, it's been fun. I'm surprised I've made it through the complete series without being sent off. But no, it's been like Aaron sort of mentioned there. It's kind of a bit of an Eddie Howe therapy session, wasn't it? Sort of getting back to reminiscing about that team that was so fantastic. And like I outlined at the beginning, you could see it unfolding before your eyes before we'd even got there. Some of the best days I'll ever know as a Bournemouth fan were brought by Eddie Howe and that team, essentially that team. And I can't thank enough for the enjoyment that's brought me, because I certainly, as a 7-year-old, going to my first ever game at Dean Court back in the 80s, was thought this is just what we are. We are a League 1, League 2 team. So yeah, been amazing to do this, really.
Dan, we may never see the wheel decider again. I mean, there was times when you were worried when that wheel decider was going down. I could see it in your eyes. You were like, I was about 6 months old when that player was playing. You're going to miss the wheel decider?
Definitely. I mean, maybe in 5-10 years' time, we might be doing a Scott Parker era. And I won't have that excuse. So we'll go.
I thought you winged it beautifully, Dan.
You did fantastic.
Yeah, good stuff.
Let's look at that team one more time. There it is. What a beautiful team. And like Aaron said, we'd love to see that team play again, wouldn't we? Artur Boruc, Simon Francis, Steve Cook, Nathan Ake, Charlie Daniels, Mark Pugh, Harry Arter and Lerma picked up a yellow but stayed on the pitch. Matt Ritchie's definitely got a goal. Wilson and Pitman as well. What a lineup it is. As I said, thank you to the fans that's interacted throughout the series. If you haven't seen part 1, just hop on after this one and go back and just see the thoughts from the guys. We've got lots more content coming to you, relevant content of what's going on. Check out AFC Bournemouth Weekly, because that'll be coming around, and we're checking out the things that are going on in the last 7 days. Thank you for all your comments. And Aaron, thank you very much.
Thank you again, Kurt, for doing all of this. Love being on it and very much appreciate it.
John, we'll definitely see you soon. I've done this before. There's a new video coming out very soon where I call someone by their wrong name. So here you go. John, thanks for being part of this.
No problem. Thanks for having me on as usual, Kurt. It was a great fun.
Definitely. Steve, always great to see you. Thanks for being part of this.
Yeah, thanks, buddy. And thank you for all your efforts with all this. This has been much needed for our pandemic times.
And Dan, love your energy. Thanks for coming on and being part of this and the episode you've been on.
No Darren this time.
No Darren this time.
Darren and Jan.
Yeah. Really good stuff. Really enjoyed it. It's been good to look back at some of the players that gave us such good memories. So yeah, great stuff, Kirk.
Please make sure you hit that like button. We'll really appreciate it. Also hit the subscribe button. We want to get to 500 before the West Brom game. Getting all my words wrong. The West Brom game. And really help. Appreciate all your support. Okay. But yeah, it's been fun. That's the team. And that's Eddie Howe's best 11. Until the next video, we'll see you soon. Up the cherries.
Keep him. I loved him because he felt like a future captain.
Yeah, but I kind of have a little bit of a soft spot for Arta.
7. I am going to choose Arta Boric.
Centre-back role, and I think I always rated him at centre-back. I think he read the game brilliantly. As I said, he was really good in the air anyway because of his height.
Big fan of Adam Smith. I think he's a AFC Bournemouth legend, personally.
I just can't see past nipping it. Is Simon Francis for me. I think it's got to go to Frano.
But he's the governor. He's just the governor, and this is a tough ask tonight, Kirky. What have you done?
Can we just mention during the Premiership seasons that he was there? It was just Ake every game. It was a solid 8 at least, I would have said.
Defence, the 2 centre backs are in. We've got Nathan Ake left, Steve Cook right.
Just brilliant, and he stepped up every single season in the Premier League, certainly for the first 3 years at least.
And I'll make that a third, a clean sweep. Charlie Daniels will take his left back position.
I can't remember, but he had a great performance. I thought he's back. He's going to get his form back.
Getting back, working for his team. The ultimate professional as well.
Pick has to go to Matt Ritchie.
Going to testimonials for a couple of quid with my uncle, then I think we could sell out Dean Court 10 times over for Mark Hughes' testimonial for sure.
The detail, there's very few players that can pull off headbands and sweatbands. Trevor Aylott did it.
But he was calm on the ball. He was just always dependable, always found the right pass.
He's Mr. Bournemouth to me.
Is Pugh, Arta, Lerma, Ritchie.